Introduction. In today's fast-paced society, people generally find it difficult to achieve a balanced life. They cannot engage in every activity they wish they were able to do. Everyone wishes that they could balance their life when it comes to work, sleep, and social life. Start throwing things in like diet, activity, and good health, and you'll find even more people who are struggling to find a balance. Many people work upwards of 8 to 12-hour shifts, if not more, and find it difficult to take a break long enough to choke down a sandwich, much less trying to create and eat a well-balanced meal. Even our family life has become a rush. Who has time for more than a cup of coffee in the morning when you have to get kids and maybe a spouse ready for their day? The modern individual is continually on the move in terms of getting work done now, but does that mean that we're on the move and staying active? Not really. Someone who spends an entire day at work can spend long hours in front of a computer staring at a screen with increasing levels of stress as well as other bodily problems that come with remaining stationary for extended periods. Combine that with a non-existent diet, surviving on coffee and energy drinks to get you through the day, or a terrible diet where you're snacking on high-sugar snacks or junk food because it's convenient. Convenient. People have traded their health for foods that are convenient and quick. The leading cause of death in America, over 675,000 people, is due to eating unhealthily and low levels of activity, according to the Center for Science and the Public Interest back in 2016. Those that die generally suffer from preventable heart diseases, obesity, diseases associated with obesity, or lack of proper nutrition, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Sadly, over the course of 30 years, obesity has doubled in the adult population, tripled in children under the age of 13, and quadrupled in adolescents. Obesity is avoidable if the correct nutrition and activity are achieved. Yet, why are these numbers rising? Because we're unwilling to relinquish our hold on foods that are full of added sugars, high in empty calories, and of little nutritional value. Even when you're trying to eat healthily, you're often left with cravings which cause you to stop working on your diet and fall back into old habits. In the past, people stated that sugar can be as addictive as cocaine. And sugar is known for its addictive properties, but it's likely not quite as bad as cocaine. Upon consuming sugar, the body releases opioids and dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that's associated with the reward center of the brain. When dopamine receptors are stimulated, it can lead to behavioral reinforcements which will lead to addictive behavior. However, the pleasure-like state that's caused by dopamine isn't the same each time. The so-called high that is experienced diminishes as the response to dopamine gradually decreases. Your brain is becoming used to the neurotransmitter, and this, in turn, causes a person to want to consume more of that item that has given them this pleasure. In this case, it's not an illegal but a legal drug, and it's found in just about everything we consume. The dopamine receptors aren't the only receptors that are influenced. The opiate receptors, which also form part of the reward circuit. Once the reward center is activated by the opioids and dopamine, which in turn were triggered by the intake of sugar, it can lead to a compulsive behavior. The more sugar we consume unnecessarily, the more likely we'll experience weight problems and obesity. When you have too much sugar in your diet, you force your pancreas to work overtime in producing and releasing insulin into your blood to control the excessive amounts of blood sugar, glucose. When the pancreas is overworked by releasing too much insulin, it will eventually stop producing the right amounts of the hormone, and you can find yourself heading towards heart disease or type 2 diabetes. Sugar is linked to many problems in the body that can influence everything from your heart to your sex life. Sugar is made up of carbohydrates, which is one of the 3 macromolecules that we normally find in our food. The other 2 are protein and fats. Excessive consumption of carbohydrates can have the same effects as eating too many sugary treats, as it causes a rise in our blood sugar. Not all carbohydrates are bad for us. The foods that contain simple carbohydrates are usually those that contain large amounts of added sugars, while food that contains complex carbohydrates has more fiber and natural sugars such as grains and fruit. But honestly, who has the time to read all the packaging of food to see what kinds of carbohydrates are hidden in your food? With today's fast-paced lifestyle, not many people. But don't be disheartened. There's a way around this by simple avoidance of carbohydrate-rich foods with the use of a ketogenic diet. Take a journey through this book to learn what the ketogenic diet is and how it can help you with the problems associated with a poor diet caused by eating incorrect foods or too much of the incorrect foods. There are various diets to suit the kind of requirements you may need with your own busy schedule. By making use of the tips littered throughout this book, you learn a broad range of information, from what can and can't be eaten in a restaurant to how to prepare a weekly diet that you can expand on. Find out how a ketogenic diet can help you not only with your body, but also your mental and emotional health while teaching you how to manage the diet of your choice. Dive in and discover the world of the ketogenic diet. Chapter 1. Keto and Ketosis. To understand any kind of diet, you need to understand what is and what is not good for you. To make an educated decision about your health and diet, it's always a good idea to do your research before just trying it. If you're not sure if this diet's for you, consult your family physician before continuing this book. All diets have pros and cons, and your physician will be able to tell you that a particular diet or exercise gives you more pros than cons. What are keto and ketosis? Before continuing further with this book, the most important thing you need to understand is ketosis. In a regular diet where one is eating all three of the macromolecules, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, your body breaks your food down to produce glucose or blood sugar to fuel the body's need for energy. When glucose is used to provide energy to the body, it's done through the process of glycolysis. Glucose is not bad, and your brain does need it to function. The problem comes in when you have too much glucose in your blood. Your body produces insulin to manage the concentration of glucose in your body. Insulin causes your cells to absorb the glucose, which is needed for energy. But if there's too much glucose, the cells can't use all of the energy, and they convert the glucose into fat. This is actually how insulin can cause an increase in weight. It's doing what it has to, but if you keep pushing vast quantities of foods heavy in sugars and carbohydrates, your body isn't able to deal with it, and it has no choice but to convert it to fat, and there it will sit until your body enters a situation where it has no energy and needs the fat deposits to keep itself going. Generally, if one works on counting calories or watching carbohydrates, as well as applying some moderate exercise to your daily regime, your body will be using the excess glucose as energy to get through the day or exercise. All of this hassle can be avoided if you decide to force your body to find another way to get energy. Luckily, glycolysis isn't the only way to obtain energy. One only needs to remove carbohydrates from your diet or consume less than 50 grams per day. Once your body's used all its glucose, it's forced to turn to fat as a source of energy. This process is called ketosis. During ketosis, fat is broken down into ketones, which are then used by the body to provide energy for all its needs. Yes, even the brain can make use of ketones. To reach this ketosis process, one needs to maintain the consumption of carbohydrates below 50 grams a day. Lower is better, but that depends on which of the keto diets you wish to follow. The new diet should be significantly higher in healthy fats and protein while cutting out various types of carbohydrates. This is known as a ketogenic diet, or keto diet for short. Types of keto diets. There are quite a few variations of the keto diet, and it's important to find the one that best suits you. Some are more restrictive than others, so before choosing one, ask yourself why you're doing this diet. Is it to drop inches and pounds? Is it to build muscle? Or do you simply want to use the diet to break away from bad food choices? Once you know exactly what you want from the diet, look at the list below and make your choice. The standard keto diet. This is the most common of the keto diets that one can follow. With this particular version, the percentage of fat to protein to carbohydrates is 75 to 20 to 5, though this can also vary around 80 to 70% fat, 15 to 20% protein, and 5 to 10% carbohydrates. Your carbohydrate intake shouldn't be more than 30 grams a day. This diet, however, is not good for all. If you're someone who has kidney stones or is pregnant, this is not the diet to follow. If you're a diabetic, it's a good idea to discuss this diet with your physician before trying it. High-protein keto diet. For this particular diet, you'll need to have a slightly higher protein content. The fat content of the diet should be 65%, the protein should be at 30%, and carbohydrates should be in the minority of 5%. This diet's perfect for anyone who wishes to still gain muscle while losing that annoying abdominal fat. This is also very good for the elderly who want to maintain their muscle mass. This is not a great idea for people who have kidney problems, as they'll be sensitive to the nitrates in the extra protein. The cyclical keto diet. The keto diet in general can be restrictive, so if one finds themselves struggling, then this is likely the best version for you. You remain on the standard keto diet for 5 to 6 days, then cycle carbohydrates into your diet for 1 or 2 days before returning to the standard keto diet. Though there's no limit to how many carbohydrates you can eat when you are cyclic, but it's a good idea not to eat them in excess, as you don't want to make it too difficult to return to ketosis. This is the perfect diet for someone who has to attend parties and for whom sticking to a strict diet is too difficult. It's strongly suggested that you only try this diet after being in ketosis for some time to avoid the negatives that accompany it. The lazy keto diet. This diet's for those who don't have time to work out how much protein and fat they eat, but rather concentrate on keeping their carbohydrates below 50 grams a day. Many people like to follow this diet, but it's not suggested unless you aim to be very strict with your carbohydrate intake. It's all in or don't bother. Not following this diet can actually result in a weight gain. Follow with caution. The Mediterranean keto diet. This diet's the same as the standard keto diet except for one thing. You need to concentrate on the fats that you're consuming. Make healthier fat choices to help protect your heart. Consume fats that are from foods like olive oil and various types of fatty fish. Be wary of the grains that you consume on this diet, as those should rather be avoided on a keto diet. This diet combines well with exercise. The dirty keto diet. This diet gets a little more dirty when compared to the standard keto diet. Usually, a keto diet calls for one to avoid all processed foods or packaged meals because you may not know exactly what's in them. The dirty keto diet, however, allows one to make use of these food sources. This opens one's diet a lot more, but can be difficult in keeping those carbs below 5%. This diet's purely for convenience and should not be followed for an extended period, especially if one has diabetes or a bad heart. The clean keto diet. Another variation of the standard keto diet where one concentrates on choosing the healthiest variants of each of the macromolecules. The leanest protein cuts, grass-fed, and the healthiest fats, cold-pressed, and carbohydrates only from fruits and vegetables. Though this particular diet can get expensive, it's important to keep those carbohydrates low when choosing the right fruit and vegetables that go into your fridge. Summary. There are other keto diets that are aimed specifically at diseases such as epilepsy, but those are not suggested unless a doctor has expressed that it's the best diet for a person. The other diets play around with the number of carbohydrates you can consume, which can go as high as 20% of your diet, but this is also not suggested as the diet's unlikely to keep you in ketosis, so you'll not reap the benefits. Irrespective of which of the diets you choose, remember that it's important to listen to your body to find out which one suits you best. So why a keto diet and not something else? For starters, all keto diets are very restrictive in what you can and can't eat. You need to manage your carbohydrates strictly. Immediately, you can no longer consume things like sodas, baked goods, or candies. Sugar's banned on this diet for the most part. Being on a keto diet forces you to be aware of what's in your food. Even if you're on a dirty keto diet, you can still check the nutritional information of prepackaged foods to determine what's in them. Just by being restrictive, the diet already helps to steer people away from unhealthy choices. Time spent on the keto diet. As with all restrictive diets, one would like to know how long one can be on this diet before something goes wrong or the diet stops working. The first thing you need to realize is that this isn't an instant fix. If it took you 20 years to pack the weight on, it isn't going to go away overnight. It can take anywhere from 2 to 4 days for one to enter ketosis, depending on factors such as body weight, which diet you're making use of, or even if you're fasting or not. To check if you're in ketosis, you'll need to test your ketone level. This can be done with urine sticks, blood tests, or a breathalyzer designed to pick up ketones in the breath. Once you're in ketosis, you can decide how long you would like to remain on the keto diet of your choosing. Permanent or temporary change. So how long can one remain on keto? According to Corey Nelson, there have been studies done with obese patients who remained on the diet for 6 months with no adverse effects. These patients showed a decrease in their body mass index, or BMI, overall weight, triglycerides, low-density lipids, LDL, also known as the bad cholesterol, and blood glucose, while the high-density lipids, HDL, also known as the good cholesterol, showed an increase. 3 more studies increased the time to a year. One study was for cardiovascular health, which showed no relevant negative effects on the heart, while the patients continued to lose weight at a reasonable rate. The second study compared the keto diet to a diet that allowed moderate carbohydrates in it for those that suffered from type 2 diabetes. It was found that those on the keto diet lost weight up to 2 times faster than those that were on the other diet. No serious negative effects were noted. The last study was comparing a low-carbohydrate diet to a low-fat diet. There were less than 3% adverse effects, which were spread evenly between the two groups. However, these adverse effects were not related to the diets being tested. So scientifically, 1 year seems to be the time to aim for a keto diet. Though this isn't to say that you can continue this diet beyond 1 year if it's working for you successfully and you're not undergoing any negative effects. If you want to try this diet, it's strongly suggested that you stick to it for at least a month to see the effects on your body. Then you can decide if you want to stop the diet or make it a lifestyle. If you want to go back to eating carbohydrates, it's quite possible, but be careful about not returning to a bad diet, but add small amounts of carbohydrates, between 50 and 70 grams of carbs a week to start with, or 15 to 20 grams a day, depending on how strict your keto diet was. Keep an eye on your health and weight as you transition back to a regular diet that contains all 3 macromolecules. Don't let high sugar content snacks catch you again. Chapter 2. Keto's effect on the physical body. Whether good or bad, there is an effect on the body when one decides to change a diet. This is no exception to the keto diet. To get the full benefit of a healthy keto diet, make sure that you've already chosen a diet from the list above, or one given to you by your doctor, and follow it strictly. Nothing's achieved by half measures. You're either in or you're not. Good luck. Effects on the metabolism. The process of ketosis only lasts as long as one does not overdo it on the carbohydrates, which should remain as low as possible, but it isn't necessary to be cut from the diet completely. This is one of the more effective ways to lose weight. Another way is to ensure that you always have a calorie deficit in your diet. If a standard diet allows for the consumption of 2,000 calories, a deficit of 500 calories will allow one to eat 1,500 calories a day. This should allow for a loss of 1 pound a week. However, remaining in a deficit for about 3 weeks can cause the body's metabolism to slow down, as you are not giving it the energy required to function at its usual level. Usually, if this occurs, one can simply choose a day where you do a refeed. This is where you'll eat between 500 and 1,000 calories more than your usual amount of calories to reintroduce that energy source, which should cause your metabolism to speed up again. One of the myths that surround the keto diet is that, like other diets, it will eventually cause your metabolism to slow down if you remain on it for an extended period. Thus, it will halt the benefits. However, it's unlikely that keto will cause this to happen, as the diet helps one to maintain a high metabolism. To understand why this occurs, one needs to look at the basal metabolic rate, or BMR. The BMR is the rate at which we use calories just by being alive during the day, irrespective of activity. About 75% of the calories burned a day are attributed to this. The BMR of a person is dependent on factors such as weight and genetics. If one is larger in weight, the BMR will be higher than that of someone of a lower rate. As one loses weight, the BMR becomes lower. However, when on a keto diet, the BMR doesn't become lower but remains where it was before the weight loss. It's believed that this occurs because the muscle mass of a person is preserved while on a keto diet. Because of this preservation, the metabolism is maintained and doesn't decrease as the weight is lowered. So, in essence, if one has a higher metabolism, then you're going to be burning through calories at a higher rate, while at rest when compared to someone who has a slower metabolism. Though it should be stated that generally when one has a higher metabolism, there will be an urge to eat more food as the body is needing a higher amount of energy required to function. The need to eat more can be devastating to someone who's trying to maintain their eating habits but doesn't want to suffer the cravings associated with needing more energy to fuel their body. Luckily, with the keto diet, there isn't an urge to eat all the time to fuel the metabolism because the diet itself makes you feel fuller for longer. This has to do with the consumption of more protein and fat over carbohydrates. Along with insulin, two other hormones help to regulate our hunger. These are leptin, the eat less hormone, and ghrelin, the eat more hormone, and they regulate the feelings of hunger and feeling sated. When there's too much insulin and hypothalamic inflammation, the brain's unable to pick up leptin signals to stop eating, and so we still feel hungry and continue to eat. However, when on a keto diet, there's very little insulin and the inflammation subsides. The brain becomes more sensitive to leptin, and thus the message to stop eating happens a lot quicker. Because of this, there's a reduction in appetite which contributes to weight loss. Can a keto diet increase our lifespan? Well, 2 studies were conducted on mice that underwent a keto-like diet. Only one of these studies showed an increase in the mice's lifespans of up to 13%, but the other did not. The study that showed the increased lifespan fed their animals a keto diet with a predetermined amount of energy which was calculated to maintain the mice's adult body, while the other study fed their mice a keto diet 1 week followed by the next on a standard lab mouse diet. Both studies showed an improvement in the mental and physical preservation in terms of aging with their mice. There have been no human studies as of yet, but the results of the studies on mice are promising. Reversing or managing diabetes. There are several diseases that a keto diet can fix in some regards, and in the case of others, make the illness more manageable. Most of these problems were made better with the use of the standard keto diet, which sometimes was modified depending on the study. Epilepsy. People who suffer from epilepsy generally have medicine to manage the seizures that accompany this disease. Sadly, some do not respond to the medications that are available on the market, and they need to find something else to help them, as the seizures themselves can also be damaging to the brain. Those that followed the standard keto diet found that their seizures improved by 50% than those who were not on the diet. In children that were placed on the diet, irrespective of whether suffering seizures or not, it was found that there was a 65% improvement in various brain patterns. Glycogen storage disease, or GSD. Those who suffer from GSD are missing enzymes that allow for the storage of glucose into glycogen or the breakdown of glycogen into glucose. Because of this, a person with GSD usually presents as someone who has poor growth, an enlarged liver, low blood sugar, and frequent muscle cramps. The therapeutic use of the keto diet has been shown in some GSD cases to alleviate some of the symptoms. This was especially noted in people who suffer from Forbes-Cori disease, or GSD3, where the disease mostly affects the muscles and the liver. By making use of the keto diet, the body was forced to use ketones for energy, which alleviated the symptoms. Insulin resistance in metabolic syndrome. Also known as prediabetes, this disease is the precursor of diabetes, which in turn can lead to all manner of other diseases such as heart disease. As the keto diet burns fat fast, some of the marked improvements for people suffering from this include lower blood sugar, blood pressure, and an improvement in all cholesterol values, as well as a reduction of abdominal obesity. Diabetes. This disease occurs when you have too much blood sugar that cannot be managed by the body's natural insulin production for a variety of reasons. When one is placed on a keto diet, there's very little glucose being released into your body as your body is forced through ketosis and makes use of ketones for energy. There have been several studies that showed that the majority of those that suffered from type 2 diabetes were able to reduce or completely stop using their medication after being placed on a keto diet for 16 weeks. Obesity. Due to the keto diet's ability to manage one's hunger as well as burning the fat of those that are obese, find this the easiest diet to manage. This is because as long as they stick within the ratios of the macromolecules, they're likely not to feel hungry and will thus eat less while their body burns fat for energy. Some cancers. Diseases like high blood sugar, diabetes, and obesity have been linked to various types of cancers, for example, breast cancer. By lowering the blood sugar and insulin levels, one may be able to slow down or prevent tumor growth. Some case studies involving those that suffer from the glioblastoma multiforme or GBM have shown that the keto diet has allowed for some improvement for those that suffer this aggressive form of cancer. However, a keto diet is not a cure-all and should be used in conjunction with anti-cancer drugs and treatments. While on a keto diet, the muscle mass of a patient is preserved, which helps them with their strength as they go through the various cancer treatments. There are still several studies that are trying to see how else a keto diet may help in terms of cancer. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. Many people who have ASD tend to also have forms of epilepsy, which can be managed through a keto diet. Studies in mice have shown that the diet can also help with the behavioral aspects of ASD. There was a study done on a child that had both autism and epilepsy that was placed on a keto diet as well as being completely gluten and dairy-free. Before the diet, her seizures were not completely under control with medication, but once on the diet, there was a significant improvement. When she was first tested for autism, her score on the Childhood Autism Rating Scale was 49, but this improved to 17. This changed her diagnosis of severe autism to non-autistic. With this improvement in her score, there was also an improvement in her intelligence quotient, IQ, by 70 points. By the end of the study, the child was no longer suffering any seizures. More studies are being conducted as of the writing of this book. Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. Those that suffer from Parkinson's are affected by tremors, difficulty controlling fine motor skills, as well as impaired posture. The keto diet's been explored as a possible therapeutic treatment for sufferers because of the diet's protective effect that it has on the brain as well as the nervous system. A study on mice with the disease has shown an improvement in motor function. A single uncontrolled human study was conducted that showed that 5 out of 7 people on a standard keto diet had a 43% improvement in their symptoms after 4 weeks. More studies need to be completed before enough is known about keto and this disorder. People who suffer from Alzheimer's go through a progressive form of dementia where there's a severe impairment to memory due to amyloid plaques. This disease seems to share characteristics of both type 2 diabetes as well as epilepsy, whereas the brain's unable to make use of glucose and suffers inflammation as well as possible seizures due to insulin resistance. Those that suffer from Alzheimer's who have been placed on a keto diet with supplements like medium-chain triglycerides, MCT oil, or ketone esters have shown an improvement in the symptoms associated with the disease. Ketone esters have been proven to lower the amyloid plaques. A controlled study with 152 individuals who all suffered from Alzheimer's were given an MCT compound and showed improvements in their mental function after 45 days. Those in the placebo group continued to decline. More studies are being done in this regard, but the results so far are very promising. Improving current health. Retains muscle mass. Another one of the myths that surround the keto diet is that muscle mass will suffer because if the body needs glucose for something, it will be taken from the muscles. Although protein can indeed be converted to glucose by the liver through a metabolic process known as gluconeogenesis, it's very difficult to break down the body's muscle to do this when protein's being consumed on a keto diet. The body still needs glucose for the kidney cells and some brain functions, though the brain can function on ketones without too much of a problem. The reason many people believe that their muscle mass is suffering under keto is because of the sudden drop in size, not just weight, once one starts on the keto diet. For every gram of glycogen that is stored in the muscle, another 5 to 7 grams of water is also stored. As the glycogen is shed, so is the water, and because of this, it appears as if you're losing muscle. This is not the case. When on a keto diet, the main ketone that's made is beta-hydroxybutyrate, BHB, which not only promotes protein synthesis but protects the amino acid leucine from oxidation. This is a vital amino acid for muscle building. Other benefits. Many benefits to one's health have already been discussed, but what if you're not someone who has any dire problems, but have been warned about certain health issues that could arise in the future due to poor diet? Then the keto diet is still for you. On the keto diet, you will have a suppressed appetite which prevents you from snacking on foods that can be detrimental to your health in the future. It's also the quickest way to lose weight through suppressed appetite and not eating high sugar or carbohydrate content foods. The fat that's lost during a keto diet occurs mostly around the abdomen cavity and is called visceral fat. This fat is dangerous as it can pack around your organs and lead to problems such as insulin resistance and even inflammation. Then there are the triglycerides, or the fat molecules in your body. Overall, they'll diminish while the HDL increases and the LDL decreases as you stick to the diet. If your cholesterol is significantly bad, you're likely to suffer from heart problems. Another aspect that can improve is your blood pressure. Hypertension can lead to yet more heart problems, strokes, and even kidney failure, but when on a keto diet, your blood pressure will decrease over time. Improving hormonal imbalance. An imbalance in hormones can be devastating to a person's life, as several hormones are important to allow the body to function as it should. Polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS. This disorder is caused by dysfunctional female hormones that can lead to irregular periods and even infertility in some women. A 6-month-long study on a keto diet shows that there was an improvement in reproductive hormones in several women. There was such an improvement that 2 women who were previously struggling to conceive finally were able to fall pregnant. Premenstrual syndrome, PMS. There are many women around the world that suffer from PMS. The symptoms can vary from moodiness, depression, fatigue, and even cramping, which can either be slight or severe. It's believed what causes this is the concentration of estrogen is too high, while the concentration of progesterone is too low. This is called estrogen dominance, and one of the causes is eating too many refined carbohydrates and sugars. On a keto diet, these foods are removed and thus the hormone balance can return to normal. Low testosterone. Men produce at least 1.5 times more testosterone than women, and this hormone's job is several-fold. This hormone aids in growing strong bones and muscles, as well as playing a vital role in the production of sperm. Sometimes, due to reasons such as genetics, diet, and even sleep, the production of testosterone is very low, which can cause negative effects on one's weight or even sex drive. This is a very serious condition that needs treatment as soon as possible. Research has shown that men on a keto diet can boost their testosterone levels, bringing them back to healthy levels. Overall, the keto diets helped many men to change their lifestyles for the better. Cortisol. This hormone is also known as the stress hormone, and it can have devastating consequences if you have too much of it in your body. High levels of cortisol can cause decreases in testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, and lead to low sex drive, burnout, imbalances in the sex hormones, as well as high blood sugar and a loss of muscle mass. The keto diet is a bit of a double-edged sword in this regard, though. If one is already in ketosis, the consumption of dark green leafy vegetables such as Brussels sprouts can aid your adrenal glands in producing less cortisol. However, when one is trying to reach ketosis, your body enters starvation mode, and this can cause an increase in cortisol production. This is to help trigger glycogenesis to try and increase your blood sugar levels. However, this will only last until the body is in complete ketosis and your body has no more glycogen left to break down into glucose. As your body starts to use ketones in place of glucose, the stress you placed on your body will subside and the cortisol production will be reduced. Negative physical aspects of the keto diet. As with any diet, there are pros and cons, and the keto diet is not without its cons. This is especially true if you're not checking your macromolecules carefully. If you're not eating enough protein, you risk your muscles being broken down for the glucose which the body still needs for certain functions. There may be a lack of nutrients if you do not make sure to eat fruits and vegetables. You can't avoid them, just pick those of a low carbohydrate level. The food choices you make are also crucial. Everyone loves bacon, but switching to some good fats is far better for your health in the long run on this diet. You may find that, with less fiber, your stomach's not too happy, which can result in what's been coined as keto diarrhea or constipation. Adherence to the diet can be difficult due to its strictness, and yo-yoing back and forth between a keto diet and cheat days can cause one to regain lost weight or even gain more back. People with diabetes need to be careful of this diet, as well as having too many ketones in the blood, which can cause a condition called ketoacidosis. This is when the blood becomes acidic and, because of this, can damage a large variety of internal organs. Lastly, there's the dreaded keto flu. Your body is changing the way it gets energy, and it can have some nasty side effects before you're fully into ketosis. Some of these side effects include nausea with or without vomiting, irritability, brain fog, headaches, and hunger with cravings for anything sweet. Although this seems very serious, the symptoms do disappear once ketosis is reached. If you do experience the keto flu, take lots of rest and drink a lot of water. Despite the negative physical aspects of this diet, there are wonderful positive aspects, but the choice to start this diet, as well as to continue it, is solely between you and your physician. Always listen to your body to determine what it needs. Chapter 3. Keto's Effect on Mental and Emotional Health. In the last few decades, a lot of emphasis has been placed not just on physical health, but also on mental and emotional health as one affects the other. A healthy mind leads to a healthy body and vice versa. As with the physical aspects of the body being influenced by the keto diet, it also is able to have an impact on the mental and emotional health of a person. Improvement of depression and anxiety. The keto diet and depression, like with cortisol, is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's been found that those on a keto diet have had some positive effects on their nervous system as well as their brain in terms of various diseases. There's also been some research that shows that it can also be used to help treat various mood disorders, which include depression. However, due to the restrictiveness and side effects of this diet, it could even contribute to some people's depression. If one's usual comfort food is now not allowed on the diet, you'll find yourself becoming more depressed with no outlet for your depression. Not getting enough minerals like selenium, zinc, or magnesium from a restrictive diet can also contribute to the depressive state. The most important thing to remember here is that there's a difference between feeling depressed and suffering from a depression disorder. However, there are ways around these feelings of depression. The first is to simply wait out the symptoms of keto flu. They are terrible, but they do disappear, so just hang on until that ends. Next is to decide on how to replace your comfort foods and get the minerals required to boost your brain's feeling of contentment. High-quality protein with magnesium-rich foods is the way to go to stabilize moods. Try some avocado or even sugar-free or even low-sugar dark chocolate. The last is to play around with which keto diet suits you best. It's said that carbohydrate cycling is the best to allow a little freedom of the restrictive nature of this diet. Just don't go overboard on these days, but do enjoy your comfort food to help the way you're feeling. As for anxiety, keto can also help. Animal studies have shown that being on a keto diet causes a decrease in anxiety. Even in mice born of parents who were on a keto diet benefited from a reduction of depression and anxiety. They even showed increased levels of physical activity when compared to mice born of parents not on the keto diet. The reason behind the reduction in anxiety when it comes to people is because of the decrease or absence of sugar while the person increases their healthy fat intake. Think about the last time you felt stressed. What was the first thing you reached for? Was it an apple or a candy bar? Likely something sweet because your body requires a serotonin boost. This is the neurotransmitter that regulates your mood. The problem with reaching for a sugary treat is that a sugar crash is imminent thereafter, which will continue to worsen your anxiety levels as you continue to try to make yourself feel better. Improvement of some neurological diseases. Depression and anxiety are not the only mental taxing diseases that can be found in the world. Bipolar disorder, dementia, and even schizophrenia place a heavy burden on those that are forced to suffer it and those who try to aid those that suffer. There are a few case studies that looked at how those that suffered from schizophrenia reacted when placed on a keto diet. Some of the people in these studies also had schizoaffective disorder, which means they were not responding to medication or any trials for medication to alleviate the symptoms of schizophrenia. Originally, the keto diet was used to help with the weight problems these people suffered from, but it was found that some of them had a decrease in various symptoms that is associated with schizophrenia. Some cases showed that people were able to go off of their psychotropic medications as the diet managed to control their psychotic symptoms. These case studies were all preclinical but show promise as more studies are being done. The keto diet is also great when it comes to mood stabilizing, especially in terms of someone who suffers from bipolar disorder. Due to the cerebral hypometabolism that's associated with this disease, avoiding glucose metabolism in favor of ketosis is a step forward, as ketosis manages the intracellular sodium concentrations in the brain. A lower concentration of this sodium is beneficial to those that suffer the manic and depressive swings. Another disease that keto can help fight is dementia. The precursor to any dementia-like disease, for instance Alzheimer's, is called a mild cognitive impairment, or MCI. MCI is likely caused by inflammation in the brain caused by the buildup of amyloid plaques. As the keto diet is known to reduce both inflammation and amyloid plaques, this is the perfect diet to help those with the start of MCI before it can degenerate into different kinds of dementia. Improvement on sleep. Everyone loves sleep unless you're a toddler who just has been told to take a nap, but other than that, everyone loves to sleep. However, for some, sleep is very difficult to come by, and with a suggestion of 8 hours of sleep a day, most people find that they aren't even coming close. The loss of a few hours of sleep may seem like nothing in the short term, but in the long term, it has some serious repercussions. Serious diseases such as heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity, and type 2 diabetes have all been linked to subpar sleep. And if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, you'll struggle to achieve this, as not getting enough sleep doesn't allow for the recovery associated with training and resting. Even one bad night of sleep, less than 4 hours, can result in increased hormone levels of ghrelin, which triggers appetite, a decrease in leptin hormone to regulate feeling full, which increases hunger, which can lead up to 24% extra calorie consumption a day. Many things can contribute to one losing sleep. stress, medication, caffeine, and alcohol consumption, as well as the kind of diet a person consumes. As for the keto's diet effect on sleep, this can vary from person to person, both negatively or positively. Some keto diet studies to do with sleep have found that those on a keto diet suffered less drowsiness during the daytime, while other studies showed that there was an increase in rapid eye movement, or REM, sleep, which is associated with dreaming as well as increasing the quality of sleep. But why is this happening? Newly emerging studies are pointing to the fact that ketogenic diets are having an effect on adenosine. This chemical is in charge of regulating our sleep. As we go about our day, we build up adenosine, which causes us to feel sleepy, and once we fall asleep at night, it promotes deeper sleep. Ketogenic diets have been shown to promote adenosine activity, which in turn will relax the nervous system, reducing any pain and inflammation we may be suffering. All of this will help us to fall and stay asleep. However, these beneficial aspects are only available once you've been on the keto diet for a while and have managed to transition into ketosis. Before that, some short-term issues may affect your sleep negatively. Carbohydrates are responsible for the increase of tryptophan, an amino acid, which is then converted into serotonin. This chemical is needed to make melatonin, which is another sleep hormone. Protein, however, increases the amino acid tyrosine. This is responsible for causing the brain to create epinephrine and norepinephrine, and this causes you to be more alert rather than letting you sleep. Because you're now eating fewer carbohydrates in comparison to protein, serotonin is lower, which means the alertness hormones are higher, and thus makes it significantly more difficult to fall asleep. This all can lead to what is known as keto insomnia. This insomnia usually occurs during the keto flu stage as your body tries to adapt to using ketones as a source of energy. This adaptation phase can result in decreased REM sleep, as well as being more restless during the first two stages of sleep, which all contributed to not getting a full night's sleep, or a restful one at that. Luckily, this is only short-term, if that is of any comfort. If insomnia lasts longer than a few days, there may be something else that's contributing to it. There are several helpful tips which can aid you in getting a good night's rest while on keto. If you like to exercise, do it earlier in the day so that your body has time to cool down and relax. Don't eat close to sleep time, as digestion will keep you awake. You can even consider meditation to help you with a busy mind or stress if this is having an impact on your sleep. As for dietary changes, you can consider slowly removing carbohydrates instead of suddenly dropping them, or adding some back into your diet via the carbohydrate cycling keto diet. Even better, if you are planning on having carbohydrates, try having them at night to aid in the production of serotonin and melatonin. Improvement of self-esteem. Self-esteem is difficult to measure because each person is different in how they see themselves and the confidence that they may have. The main point for self-esteem is that you have the confidence to do whatever you want without wanting to hold back or hide. This brings us back to the old saying that if you look good, you feel good. The only way to measure someone's self-esteem is by asking them. How can the keto diet affect one's self-esteem? As there's no scientific research that can measure this, let's rather look at two success stories, one by Marissa Brassfield and the other about Nicholas. Marissa started her keto journey in 2016 with the combination of intermittent fasting. She only allowed herself to eat between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m., making sure that she stuck to healthy fats and eliminating as many carbohydrates as possible. She managed to not only lose 30 pounds, but finally reached the body fat percentage that she had last enjoyed when she was in college while being an athlete. There were not only the physical changes that blew her away, but also the changes of the quality of her life. She was getting better sleep, had a better mood, clarity of mind, and all the energy she needed to get through her busy schedule. With her limited eating time, she never felt that her life was being driven by the need to eat by a certain time. As long as she was stuck to eating between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m., she was fine. However, her biggest benefit wasn't the weight loss, but rather that her confidence was soaring, which in turn allowed her to speak out more and thus get placed in more crucial roles in her workplace. She would now have the confidence to wear clothes that flattered her new figure and made her feel fabulous. She didn't start this journey for anyone but herself, and now she was willing to have people look at her while she did what she needed to with the confidence that she did not have before starting the keto diet. The story of Nicholas shows a man who, at his worst, was 410 pounds on a 5'11" tall body. He was addicted to all forms of sugars and various food types while doing next to no exercise nor feeling the need to as he slept away half his days. By the time he was 12, he was already on blood pressure medication. By 27, he was on 2 different types of blood pressure medication, and his blood pressure was still very high. He was taking sleeping pills just to fall asleep, and he had developed kidney stones due to his habit of drinking between 2 and 4 liters of soda a day. This man was at the point of no longer caring if he lived or died, and had already contemplated suicide. Luckily, after getting the help he needed, he was put on a keto diet, which in itself was something he fought against, but eventually relented and taught himself how to cook and stick to the diet. After about a year of hard work and dedication to sticking to his diet, Nicholas now has completely normal blood pressure and is off the medication that was treating his hypertension. He no longer has to take sleeping pills to aid in his sleep, and his blood sugar has also reached a normal level. As of the writing of Nicholas's story, he had lost an amazing 154 pounds and continues to work hard to fix himself as he feels that he needs to focus on his brain and avoid addictive habits. He feels that now he has broken his isolation from others because of his self-confidence boost. He's able to communicate more freely and is far happier than he was a year ago. These are just 2 of the amazing stories you can find on the internet. If you're interested in reading more, then go to Diet Doctor to review more success stories and happy endings for those that tried the keto diet. Keto and meditation. Many people find comfort in meditation when all else ceases to work for them, but how can this relaxing state aid those that are on a keto diet? Meditation is deeply personal to each person who wishes to make use of it. There are no research articles that state whether keto can aid or distract from meditation, and likely this will be heavily dependent on the person who's attempting the meditation while on one of the keto diets. Diets as a whole can be a very difficult process as you're placing your body under stress, denying it any kind of pleasure in terms of food, and trying to avoid any cravings. Some people need a little extra help than just willpower to aid in distracting themselves from the difficulty, as they are not ready to just give up without trying everything in their power first. Meditation and mantras are something that can come to your aid if your willpower has started to fade a little. Who Am I This Day on Reddit has 13 mantras that they feel can make a large impact on those that are struggling to stay with the keto diet. Envision your goals. Are your cravings in charge, or are you? Make peace with how you ended up in your situation. Change starts with you. Get rid of all temptation as much as possible. Bad days happen. Have a plan for it. Slip-ups happen. Get back up and try again. Avoid using the word can't. Rather, make use of the phrase, I choose to not have this, then let that be your decision. Food is fuel, not a treat. Don't treat yourself like a dog. The goals are the end point. How you get there doesn't matter. Picture where you would be if you stopped giving up and having to start all over again. You can't achieve your goal by repeating mistakes that have held you back in the past. You can either waste your time or work on your waste. That is up to you. These mantras are by no means the only ones you can use. If these do not help you, develop your own that do work for you. If you're someone that needs an extra hand in your meditation, you can try a guided keto meditation. The wonderful people of Mindful Wave Studio in 2019 have a video on YouTube which helps those that need a helping hand in staying focused on the goal with the keto diet. With its relaxing music and the soothing voice of Alex, it's sure to help calm yourself and mentally prepare you for the battle your body is facing as well as your internal struggles. Even if one wasn't on a keto diet, there's a lot of stress in our daily lives which pushes up the hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which are the stress and fight or flight hormones. Living as if one is under constant pressure makes it very difficult to want to make a change in one's diet, and this is where meditation can help once more. Meditation's been proved to lower blood pressure, depression, aid in sleep, and can help with boosting the immune system. So whether meditation can aid in keto is entirely up to you. It's something that can help you get over the worst of the negatives involved in switching to a new diet or dealing with a stressful situation. Negative aspects. A few negatives were discussed and addressed earlier in this section, and so will not be discussed again. When one makes sudden changes to one's life, there are many stresses involved, and because of this, there are a few mental and emotional changes that will occur, and not always for one's benefit. When one's on a restrictive diet, it makes it very difficult to enjoy social gatherings with friends, either because of the judgment over your diet or not being able to eat what you want to. This can result in a person socially isolating to avoid these problems. Your sleep can also be affected negatively by a keto diet, as when you're going through your glycogen stores, you're also losing a lot of water. This water is lost through urination, and when one has to get up at night to frequently urinate, it's sometimes quite difficult to return to sleep. If you have to get up several times in the night, this will have an influence on your sleep, which will lead to feeling tired during the day. Luckily, this is only a short-term problem, as once the glycogen stores are gone, so will the excess water stores. The majority of the negative effects are short-lived. However, if you are finding that the keto diet places too much stress on your life and it's causing you to become depressed and withdrawn, then it's perhaps something you need to reconsider. It's all right to take one step back now and again, to reevaluate where you are in life before going forward. Work together with your physician to find the best possible outcome with diet and medication if this is necessary. Your health always comes first. Chapter 4. Resources for the Keto Eater. There's nothing worse than trying to get a diet started and having no one to lay the information out for you, or, worse yet, having to deal with conflicting information from online. Luckily, this chapter is all about guiding a person in making the right choices when it comes to everything in the keto diet. If you find other things that help you more than what's in this chapter, don't be afraid to experiment and try your own things. If you're not comfortable with what you're doing, the diet will only be an uphill battle. Know your fruits and vegetables. With a wide variety of fruits and vegetables at your fingertips when you go shopping, it's very difficult to know which are suited to your diet if you haven't done your research. All fruits and vegetables are good for you, but some contain too many carbohydrates or even sugar. Yes, vegetables can contain sugar, which will ensure that you never get into ketosis. Here are some lists of vegetables and fruits that you can consume while on any of the keto diets. Vegetables. Vegetables come in two varieties, above and below ground. Those that grow above the ground generally have lower carbohydrates than those that grow below the ground. Those that grow below ground are normally storage or root vegetables and will contain a larger concentration of carbohydrates. Luckily, there are some exceptions to this rule. Before picking a favorite vegetable, remember that you have 20 to 50 grams of carbs you can play around with, depending on your diet. So take the time to look at not just the grams, but also the nutrients that they can give you. In the table below are the vegetables that contain less than 5 grams net carbohydrates per 3.5 ounce or 100 grams, but don't feel limited to them, as there are a few others below that are also great to eat and will suit your keto diet. Spinach, 1 gram carbohydrates, Can be eaten raw in a salad or baked to crisp-like consistency. Asparagus, 2-gram carbohydrates. Enjoy as is or pan-seared. Avocado, technically a fruit, 2-gram carbohydrates. Enjoy as is or cut up into a salad. Kale, 3 grams, similar to spinach. Zucchini, 3-gram carbohydrates, great in stir-fry and for making chips. Cauliflower, 3-gram carbohydrates, cauliflower rice, pizza bases, and salads. Cabbage, 3-gram carbohydrates, used in salads and sauerkraut, keto-friendly. Broccoli, 4-gram carbohydrates, used in salads, steamed or fried. Green beans, 4-gram carbohydrates, great as a snack or pan-seared. Peppers, green, yellow, red, 3-gram, 4-gram, or 5-gram. Decide carefully which you'll use, but all are great as is, chopped in a salad or stir-fried. Didn't see your favorite? Other vegetables that are in the lower range of carbohydrates include lettuce, cucumber, olives, tomato, eggplant, and Brussels sprouts, 5-gram net carbs. At just under 10 grams of net carbohydrates, you'll find celeriac and rutabaga at 6 grams net carbs, beetroot and carrot, 7 grams net carbs, onion, 8-gram net carbs, and peas, 8-gram net carbs. Grains and refined carbohydrates are a no-go on the keto diet. Rice is 28-gram net carbs, pasta at 29 grams net carbs, bread at 46 net carbs, and chocolate is a whopping 56 grams net carbs. Avoid all, if at all possible. Fruit. Fruit's just as important as vegetables, as they contain many vitamins and minerals that are needed to help us stay healthy. Unfortunately, they're significantly higher in sugar. When in doubt, use moderation and check your ketone levels so you can see how you're affected. In the following table are the fruits that contain less than 10 grams net carbohydrates per 3.5-ounce serving. Raspberry, 5-gram carbs, 60-gram half-cup serving. Blackberry, 5-gram net carbs, serving size 70-gram, half a cup. Strawberry, 6-gram net carbs, 8 medium-sized, approximately 100-gram serving. Cantaloupe, 7-gram net carb, 160-gram, a cup net serving. Peach, 8-gram net carb, 1 medium-sized, approximately 150-gram serving. Clementine, 10-gram net carbs, 1 medium-sized, approximately 75-gram serving. Cherries, 10-gram net carbs, 75 grams or half a cup serving size. Plum, 10-gram net carbs, 1 medium-sized, approximately 65-gram servings. These are by no means the only fruit that falls under 10-gram net carbohydrates. You can also utilize lemon and coconut, 6-gram net carbs, watermelon, 7-gram net carbs, and orange, 9-gram net carbs. Other favorites tend to be higher on the carbohydrate scale, but if you're having a carb cycling day, you can consider them because they're high in fiber and nutrients. Apples, pears, pineapples, and blueberries have 12 grams net carbs. Mango contains 13-gram net carbs. Grapes have 16-gram net carbs, and bananas have 20-gram net carbs per 3.5-ounce serving. Proteins versus fats. What are your goals? The keto diet is high in fat, low in carbohydrates, and must remain moderate for the protein intake. Many people wish to increase their protein to help build muscle, but one should remember that protein can be converted to glucose in the liver and can thus push a person out of ketosis if you're not careful. However, studies have shown that consuming 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight can still keep a person in ketosis. It's suggested that one first start a standard keto diet before playing around with the protein concentration in aid of building muscles. Recording macromolecules. Any of the keto diets will fail if you're unable to track your macromolecules or macros as accurately as possible. There are many apps and calculators on iTunes as well as Google Play stores, Some you have to pay for, while others are free with in-app purchases depending on what features you want to have unlocked. Many people have their preferences when it comes to these apps, and it's strongly suggested that you go through the list below that is suggested by Melissa Matthews and Paul Kita to see which suits you best before purchasing anything. Carb Manager, Keto Diet app, free to use, but premium services cost $40 a year. Keto Diet, $9 but includes a starter guide. Senza, free and easy to use for beginners. Low Carb, free for a basic version with in-app purchases for upgrades, videos to help with cooking. Keto, free for the basic version, allows tracking of 5 foods a day and shows which foods would kick you out of ketosis. 8 Fit, has an annual fee of $60 that includes meal tracking and workouts. MyFitnessPal, basic account, doesn't concentrate on carb counting, but is a good app nonetheless, and you can upgrade to have access to more features. As long as you're documenting your food and not cheating on your entries, it doesn't matter which one you use as long as you find one that works out for you. Food Diary and Expectations. There cannot be enough stated about making use of a food diary. A food diary is significantly different from your macros counter. This diary isn't just about listing what you had to eat, but also how it made you feel. It seems like a lot of hard work to keep working on an app as well as writing everything down in a book. However, there's a reason for this. The apps you can use to count macros generally have no place for you to write down anything about how the meals made you feel or what your attitude towards the diet is. Having a book that you can open every day or weekly, depending on what you use it for, is something that will be very helpful to you. This diary provides a space in which you can be as creative as you want to be. Write your big goal, long-term, down on the front page, then list smaller goals, short-term, under it. This is how you visualize what you want from the diet. It's important to be realistic with yourself here. Don't set goals when you know they will be unachievable. Once you have your goals set, start adding to the pages. Add recipes, foods for the day, and even how your moods are changing. If you're particularly brave, take pictures of yourself and add them once a month to visually see the changes as they happen. You can even include measurements if that so pleases you. The advantage of documenting your journey is that when you have a bad day, and you will have bad days, you can simply look back to see where you have come from and how close you are to your goals. That is a sure way to keep you reaching for those dreams. Kitchen and meal preparation. Unless you're making use of the lazy keto diet, you'll need to take the time to prepare. As tasty as bacon and some hard-boiled eggs are, you need to be sure of your macros or you'll never reach your goal. Meal preparation is a must-know, must-do on any of the keto diets. However, before you can do any of the planning, you need to choose one of the diets to follow because your meal preparation will be based on that. Once you have your diet in hand, start looking at the foods you can enjoy and making a shopping list to see what you may need to buy to maintain this kind of lifestyle. Make a shopping list to cater to about a week's worth of keto meals. Before going to the shops, check all the labels of the foods that are in your house and remove anything with a high sugar or carbohydrate content. You'll need to find keto alternatives for these items if you wish to continue using them. All grains and sugars must go. You don't need that temptation when you're going to go through the keto flu. Package everything up and donate it to someone else who can use it. If you live with other people in your living space, this will be a little more difficult. So clear a space for your personal food and make sure everyone's aware of it. Have a keto-friendly snack before going shopping. As we all know, shopping on an empty stomach makes us buy whatever looks palatable. Something else you can consider buying for yourself are some freezer-safe containers so that you can freeze any keto meals that you make for yourself. Freezing and storing away these meals will be a lifesaver for the days that you come home too late and don't want to cook. Most prepared meals can last for about 3 to 5 days in the fridge in an airtight container, So make enough food to last you between 3 days and a week, depending on the energy you may have. Once the meals, referring to the following chapters for examples, have been cooked or prepared, it's time to take care of your kitchen. Working with protein and fat can invite quite a few creepy crawlies if you're not careful with your hygiene. If you're setting aside meat or vegetables to cool, make sure that it's covered in a gauze that doesn't allow flies or their eggs through. Ensure that all surfaces and knives are clean to prevent any kind of cross-contamination between the meals that you may be preparing. You don't want to use the knife you just used to cut raw meat to cut your raw veggies to snack on. And finally, experiment with recipes you find either in this book or online to find what makes you feel the most comfortable on this diet. As long as you're sticking to the macros percentages that you decided on with the kind of diet you choose, what you make isn't important as long as you find enjoyment in it. Chapter 5. Keto Plans. In Chapter 1, there was mention of several types of keto diets, which were briefly discussed to give you a rough understanding of what kind of diets are available to you, but these are hardly the only diets that are available to you. Some keto diets are designed to help with specific aspects of one's life, and that is what this chapter is all about. A total of 5 plans will be discussed in detail, as well as their pros and cons. If there's a plan you've heard about that has not made this list, use the knowledge that you've learned thus far to do your own research into these other plans to see if they are for you. Just to reiterate what was said earlier in the book, do not attempt any diet until you've discussed it at length with your physician to make sure that this is for you and that you're on no medication that can adversely affect you with a change in diet. Basic Keto Plan. Also known as the Standard Keto Plan, this is likely the easiest of the keto plans to make use of if you're a first-time dieter on keto. If this is your first time trying this diet, aim for a 70-20-10 fat to protein to carbohydrate percentage split before moving to the 80-15-5 split. The most difficult part of this diet will be the start, as you will be going through cravings for sugary treats, and it's completely normal. Once the keto flu symptoms have subsided, the worst part of the diet is over. Many people assume that because you're not allowed sugar, you cannot have dessert on this diet, and that is just not true. There are many sweeteners that you can make use of to add that touch of sweetness to help you get over the worst of the cravings. This can, however, keep promoting the cravings, so this is something that you may have to consider very carefully if you want to make use of sweeteners. Though limited on what you may eat, there's still a variety of items you may consume, and with a little imagination, you'll be able to make healthy and delicious meals. In the previous section, we've already gone over the fruits and vegetables in regards to the diet. This section will be for looking at the kinds of proteins and fats that are acceptable. Dairy in the form of full cream milk, various types of cream, cheeses, and butter are allowed in this diet, but in moderation, as milk and cheese do contain carbohydrates and even sugar. Fats need to come from healthy sources. Plant-based fats are very important, but also learn to make use of animal fats as well when cooking. Protein comes from many different sources, so don't be afraid to explore fattier cuts of meat or even high-fat content fish such as salmon. Unless you're allergic to nuts, make use of them as high-fat and fiber snacks, especially when it comes to almonds. Protein from animal products. Protein comes in various forms that can be enjoyed by all. For the basic keto diet, we'll only talk of animal proteins, as we'll discuss vegan options a little later. As protein needs to be consumed in moderation over fat, it's a good idea to make use of fattier cuts or fattier meats to reach your fat percentage that's needed. However, this doesn't mean that you should be ignoring certain meats because they're considered leaner cuts. The only meats that you need to be wary of are those that are processed. Avoid cold cuts from processed meat as well as sausages and hot dogs. These meats can contain hidden carbohydrates, and this will impact your macros for the day. Also, don't consume too much bacon. It is tasty, but some bacon's cured or contain sauces that have hidden carbohydrates. Always go for unprocessed bacon. Other than that, you can consume muscle meat from beef, game, pork, chicken, sheep, fish, and shellfish if you are not allergic, as well as squid or octopus. If you are someone who likes organ meat, don't be afraid to make use of them, but be warned that some organs do contain some carbohydrates. Another thing that you shouldn't be scared to eat is the excess fat and skin still attached, especially on your white meats where it can normally be easily cut away. These parts of the animal are now something that you should be consuming regularly. Eggs are also a great source of protein and fat, so add them to your meals or simply hard-boil a few to keep in the fridge as a snack. Nuts. Nuts, if one's not allergic, are one of the more nutritious snacks you can make use of in any diet. They are high in fat, some are high in fiber, and most of all, they are filling. They can be eaten as is, or they can be added to meals for that extra fat boost or that tasty crunch that people miss from giving up crisps. However, not all nuts are made equally, and you need to be careful about which nuts you make use of in your keto diet. So take a look at the table below to see which nuts are best for you to make use of. The table represented nuts that are 10 grams net carbohydrates per 3.5 ounces or under in serving size. Pecans, 4-gram carbohydrates, 100-gram serving equals 65 halves. Brazil nuts, 4 grams net carbohydrates, 20 whole nuts 100-gram serving. Macadamia, 5-gram net carbohydrates, 40 whole nuts 100-gram serving. Hazelnuts, 7-gram net carbohydrates, 70 whole for 100-gram serving. Walnut, 7-gram net carbs, 25 whole or 50 halves for 100-gram serving. Peanuts, 8 grams net carbs, 2/3 of a cup. Almonds, 9 grams net carbs, 80 whole. Pine nuts, 9 grams net carbs, 2/3 of a cup. Although you can make use of pistachios at 15-gram net carbs and cashews, 22-gram net carbs, these are the nuts that will likely provide too many carbohydrates if you eat up to 100 grams. If you're unable to portion control yourself on any type of nuts, then it's better for you to avoid this type of food as a whole. They're still high in calories, and if you're eating them because you're bored and not hungry, then your weight drop will either stall or start going up. Avoid any nuts that are other than roasted and salted. Other flavorings may contain sugars, so when in doubt, read the label. Dairy. Dairy is vital for us to get the calcium required to have bones and teeth that can function at the level we need them to, so that we can enjoy our lives. However, on a keto diet, some dairy is better for you than others, so be careful with what you choose to add to your diet. Below are the different types of dairy that are 10 grams net carbohydrates per 3.5 ounces or under. Dairy, butter, ghee, 0 to 0.1 gram carbohydrates. Soft, ripened cheese, brie, 0.5 gram carbohydrates. Hard, aged cheese, cheddar, 1 to 3 gram carbohydrates. Semi-soft cheese, mozzarella, plain Greek yogurt, and heavy cream, 3 grams net carbohydrates. Cottage cheese, Parmesan cheese, sour cream, feta cheese, and light cream, 4 grams net carbohydrates. Cream cheese, 4 to 6 grams net carbohydrates. Ricotta cheese, 4 to 7 grams net carbohydrates. Whole milk, plain yogurt, and half and half, 5 grams net carbohydrates. Sweetened yogurt, be wary, 10 to 20 grams net carbohydrates. If you're risking consuming low-fat yogurt, read your labels very carefully, as many of them are sweetened to enhance the taste. Make sure that this is something you can consume on your keto diet before buying. Milk and buttermilk are also something you need to use sparingly, as per cup they can have up to 12 grams net carbs. It's important to make sure that this is used sparingly, as milk contains milk sugar, lactose, that can be digested and broken up into galactose and glucose, which in turn will cause an insulin response. The addition of cheese and yogurt to your diet is essential because of the nutrients such as calcium, vitamins A, K2, B12, and B6, as well as zinc. With any restrictive diet, it's important to note where the extra nutrients are coming from so that you can make use of them. Many dairy products can be used as is or can be cooked into various dishes. Try your hand at making cream spinach for your keto diet. Fats. Nuts and many dairy products do contain fat, but these should be consumed in moderation. As fat makes up the majority of this diet, it can be difficult to get to the concentrations required for the standard keto diet. However, it's important to remember that it isn't just about the quantity of the fat, but also the quality. Some fats are better for you than others. Your body, while in ketosis, will be making more use of saturated and monounsaturated fats, as these are the best for fuel. Try to keep polyunsaturated fats to the lower amount eaten, but it's not necessary to avoid them completely. You will need the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids that come from the polyunsaturated fats, as these cannot be made in our bodies, and we need to consume them for the various membranes in your body to remain healthy. The only fats that you have to completely avoid are any artificial trans fats, such as margarine or shortening, as these have been linked to heart disease. So what fats are considered good on a keto diet? Fat sources can be divided into two groups, plant-based and animal-based. Plant-based examples are avocado oil, olive oil, cold-pressed, unrefined coconut oil, flax seeds, hemp seeds, and chia seeds. Animal-based is suet, which is from beef or mutton, and lard, which is from pork. Whether you use these oils to cook in or drizzle over your food, that choice is up to you. The seeds always make a delicious addition to salads or sprinkled over meals just before presentation. Whatever your tastes, enjoy. Sweeteners. Sometimes it's very difficult for people to give up the taste of sweetness or treats as a whole. After a lifetime of consuming cakes, candies, and chocolates, it's a lot to ask someone to just go cold turkey. Sweeteners can be a way to help someone give up those sweet treats, but it can also be a double-edged sword, as they can feed into those cravings, making it far more difficult to give up the sweets in the end. Don't for a moment think that all sweeteners are equal. Some are safe to use on the keto diet, while others contain dextrose, which will cause a glucose response from your body. Make the right choice or just completely avoid it. No glucose response. Stevia drops. Slight glucose response. Stevia in the raw, stevia plus dextrose. Glucose response high. Maltitol. No glucose response. Erythritol. Slight glucose response. Splenda. High glucose response, white and brown sugar. No glucose response. Truvia, stevia plus erythritol. Slight glucose response, equal aspartame plus dextrose. Glucose response high, maple syrup. No glucose response, monk fruit extract. Slight glucose response, sweet and low, saccharin and dextrose. Glucose response high, coconut sugar. No glucose response, diet sodas with escalufame, K-aspartame, sucralose. Slight glucose response, xylitol. High glucose response, dates. High glucose response, soda, fruit juice concentrate, agave syrup, and honey. Sadly, there's not been enough research completed as of yet to determine the effect of the sweeteners under the first column on the human body over an extended period. However, if you're struggling to kick the sugar habit, then make use of either stevia, erythritol, or monk's fruit extract and slowly wean yourself off of it. Starting somewhere small is better than not starting at all. Alcohol. Some alcohols can be consumed on the keto diet, but be aware that the liver prioritizes the breakdown of alcohol before fat, and this can have an impact on your diet. Always take alcohol in moderation. Wine per glass. Champagne, sparkling wine, dry red, and white come to about 2 net carbs. and Gewürztramers are about 4 gram net carbs. Sweet dessert wines and fortified wines are 5 grams net carbs or higher. Be wary. Beers per bottle. Budweiser Select 55 Light can vary from 1.9 to 3.1 grams net carbs. Natural Light and Busch Light are 3.2 grams net carbs. Bud Light is at 7 grams net carbs. Spirits. Whiskey, brandy, tequila, a dry martini, and vodka with soda water are all 0 grams net carbs. Bloody Mary contains 7 grams of net carbs. Some people find that once they're on a lower carbohydrate that they're unable to handle as much alcohol as they did in the past and that the hangovers are far worse. To avoid a killer hangover, consider drinking a glass of water per serving of alcohol. You have to help the liver flush the alcohol as quickly as possible. Miscellaneous. There are some things you'll need to say goodbye to on this diet. 2 of those things are tomato sauce and basting sauces. There are very few sauces that are allowed on a keto diet, and that's because the majority of them can contain sugar or other carbohydrates. You'll need to check the nutritional labels of each sauce before buying them to see if they can work on your diet. Luckily, many of your favorites have keto-friendly recipes that are easy to make. Nothing a quick internet search can't help you with if you're looking for that perfect mayonnaise to go with the keto finger foods you want to introduce to your friends. Another thing that's important to remember with keto is that you'll be needing to take in more sodium with a doctor's consent, as you'll be consuming and losing a lot of water, which in turn will flush out the natural salts in your body. If you're not getting enough salt in your diet, you'll find that your keto flu is lasting much longer than it should, and your muscles will be cramping more frequently. Something that can help with this is to make use of a bone broth. This soup-like treat adds essential minerals and salts back into your body and is a wonderful snack when the weather starts to turn cold. Now that we have the basics of the keto diet, we're open to explore the other possible plans you can make use of if you're so inclined. The following plans are by no means the only ones that are available, so do your research on others if you want to try them, but try to make use of the information above to help you make an educated guess on whether you should try them or not. Fasting plan. This plan is not for everyone, especially if you've had an eating disorder in the past or are pregnant or are breastfeeding. Fasting is the act of not eating anything for a set duration of time. Making use of intermittent fasting periods of not eating followed by restricted periods of eating while on a keto diet can have many advantages for someone. The act of fasting causes the body to enter ketosis more quickly as glycogen stores are burned through while not eating. Not only that, but when one has a limited window in which to eat, you can only eat so much. Thus, you're also restricting the amount of food you can eat. How one fasts is also a personal matter, as no one person can fast the same way. There are several ways to fast, but only the 6 most popular will be discussed here. The unstructured meal skipping plan. Cutting calories is a sure way to lose weight, so dropping a meal now and again from your eating schedule can also be beneficial, especially if you're not ready to take the plunge into a full fast regime quite yet. The 16-8 fasting method. This is likely the most popular of the fasting methods. It's easy enough to follow with fasting for about 16 hours and then eating within 8 hours. It's as simple as eating lunch and dinner and then skipping breakfast. The easiest way to do this fasting is to have your first meal at midday and not eat anything until after 8 in the evening. It's important to note that you need to stick to your keto diet of choice during those 8 hours or no benefit will be achieved. Intermittent 24-hour fasting. If you want to step up your fasting game, this is it. Choose 2 days out of the week, separated by no more than 2 days between fasting, and fast for a complete 24 hours. You're allowed to consume water, black coffee, or 0-calorie drinks to help you with the hunger pangs. This is quite challenging. Consider doing the 16-8 fasting method first. Alternate day fasting. This one's a huge challenge, and it's not suitable for beginners or likely very sustainable for very long, as no one likes to go to bed hungry. This type of fasting is one day of eating on your diet and the next not eating anything. You will then continue this pattern until you're done with this fasting plan or have achieved your goals. The 5-2 fasting method. This one can be a little more difficult as it requires you to eat normally for 5 days and then spend 2 full days fasting solidly or eating 500 calories if you're a woman or 600 calories if you're a man. These calories can be divided up between 2 small meals that can be eaten. The Warrior Diet and Fasting Plan. This one may be a little difficult to do on a keto plan, but it is possible if you have the willpower. You'll only be allowed a 4-hour window to eat a very large meal, likely for dinner, while the rest of the day you're allowed small amounts of fruit or vegetables to tide you over to the large meal. Fasting takes immense willpower, and your body's already under stress from switching to a new diet. Consider all of the options above before deciding what's best for you to try. Vegan Plan. Despite what people may think, keto is quite possible on a vegan diet. The majority of fats used on a keto diet are plant-based, and thus even those that make use of a vegan diet can enjoy the benefits of a keto diet. The only difference between the standard keto diet and a vegan keto diet is that you don't make any use of animal products such as dairy, meat, and eggs. All too often you'll hear the phrase, "But where do you get your protein from?" Well, glad you asked. Here's a comprehensive list of proteins you can make use of on a vegan diet. For replacing dairy, there are vegan cheeses, cashew cheese, and cream cheese, coconut milk, full-fat cream, yogurt, and vegan butter. For plant-based protein, try some full-fat tofu or tempeh, just to name a few. Other than that, the vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds remain the same when compared to the standard keto diet. It's important to remember that a keto diet is already restrictive, and making this a vegan keto diet makes it even more restrictive. Because of this, there may be some nutrients lacking. It's a good idea to use high-quality supplements for any vitamins and minerals that your diet might lack overall. Play around with various fruits and vegetables that are allowed on the keto diet to find the right match for you. Collagen Boosting Plan. Collagen's a vital component of our body as it makes up 70% of our skin, while also being found in our bones and other connective tissues. The reason that collagen needs to be addressed is that as we get older, it gets made less and less in our bodies, and we need to start supplementing it. Collagen is a protein that can easily be supplemented into the keto diet, and rightly should. There are many benefits of taking collagen: protects your brain, helps with back pain, healthier and stronger nails, eases aching knees and joints, treats and prevents heart disease, heals leaky guts, and improves your skin's elasticity. A common problem that can occur on a keto diet is that your hair can start to fall out. This can either be due to not getting enough protein or stress. If you're losing more hair than what feels normal to you, check that you're getting enough protein from your diet. Many things that are not age-related can affect your collagen levels. Some of these are poor diet, too many sugars consumed, smoking, as well as diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis or lupus. But fret not. Collagen levels can be boosted on a keto diet quite easily if you know what you're doing. The first is the natural way, where you're taking the time to make bone broth, which involves boiling bones, fat, and animal skin to leach the nutrients like calcium and collagen from them, which you can then use as a soup, electrolyte, or collagen replacer. The problem with this approach is that you're never completely aware of how much collagen you're getting with each cup you drink. Luckily, you can also purchase supplements of collagen, and you can look at the nutritional information to see exactly how much collagen you'll be supplementing. Collagen is available in pill form, in a liquid, or powder. Many people have found that though the pills have a slow release rate of collagen, they're very large and can be difficult to swallow. Excuse the pun. You can also make use of the liquid variety, but many people often complain about the taste, and some have sensitive stomachs that can be upset. Last is the powdered form, which most can agree is the better option of the three. However, not all powdered collagen products are created equally, and it's important to know what you're looking for and what to avoid when looking for the right product for you. Look at the nutritional label to ensure that there's not sugar anywhere in the mix. If there's a sweetener added, make sure it's one of those that do not cause a glucose reaction, like stevia. The carbohydrate concentration should also be very low. Look for a product that has less than 1%. Another thing you need to check is that the collagen you're purchasing has one of these three terms: grass-fed bovine collagen peptides, or hydrolyzed bovine collagen, or grass-fed hydrolyzed collagen powder. If it doesn't contain this, then this is not the collagen you should be using. Collagen powder cannot be swallowed as is. It's a good idea to put it in a warm liquid before drinking. Many products come already flavored or unflavored, so what you add to it is completely up to you. Many people like to add it to their morning coffee or to sauces they're making to add to their foods. If you're fasting, be warned that collagen powder has the potential to break your fasting period. Cancer plan. Cancer is hell on the body. There's no way to downplay the reality of how bad cancer can be. Not only does cancer itself have various effects on the body as it grows, but the treatments to fight it can also cause havoc to the body. There seems to be some hope, however, as new research is showing that keto diets may help many patients which suffer from certain cancers, for example, breast cancer. All cancer cells thrive on glucose, and when glucose is not available, they're unable to grow and become starved of nutrients. Though not the case with all cancers, but some tumors have been known to shrink in size. This is likely due to the healthy tissues receiving nutrients through ketones, while the cancer cells are not able to adapt and thus are selectively starved. Not only does the keto diet slowly starve cancer cells, it also triggers a few cancer-fighting mechanisms that the body has in place. The protein growth signal, insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1, is produced less on a keto diet, and the cancer cells cannot use it as a signal to grow. Tumors can grow their blood supply through the use of a growth signal called vascular endothelial growth factor, or VEGF. This is also halted by the keto diet. Because the cancer cells are unable to get enough blood and nutrients, they become starved and thus cannot grow more. However, this is not a cure. Most doctors and scientists believe that a well-formulated keto diet in conjunction with chemotherapy and/or radiation may help with a positive response from cancerous tumors. Be sure to discuss all possible options with a caregiver if this is something that may improve your quality of life. Chapter 6. Diets and Recipes. The worst part of a diet is knowing where to start. You know what you need to buy, but what do you have to make? What recipes are available to you? Can you have a dessert? Well, the answer to the last one is yes, there are many keto-friendly desserts available to you. Below you'll find examples of a week-long standard keto diet, a vegan diet, and a 16-8 fasting plan while following a keto diet. There'll even be a handful of keto-safe recipes for you to try your hand at. At the start of your diet, it's not completely necessary to count your calories, but you will need to keep a close eye on your macromolecules to make sure that you're keeping those carbohydrates between 20 to 50 grams a day. If you want to test for ketones, you can do so using ketone measuring urine strips, or you can test the ketones in your bloods with the use of a blood ketone measurer, or you can test the ketones on your breath with a breathalyzer. The optimal ketone range is 0.5 to 3.0 per deciliter. Each type of test measures something different, so choose carefully which is easier, more precise, and cost-effective for you to use. Blood tests, beta-hydroxybutyrate. Breath tests, acetone. Urine test, acetoacetate. Acetone, beta-hydroxybutyrate, and acetoacetate are ketones that are produced while you're in ketosis, so it doesn't matter which of the tests you decide to use. However, if you're looking for precision, the urine strips are not for you as they only show a range based on the color that the strip will change to. Standard keto diet. If you're trying to break into the keto diet, this is the best start for you until you feel more comfortable in trying some of the other specific diets that are available to you. Below is a suggested week-long standard keto diet for you to follow. Don't feel limited to what's here. Chop and change it if there are items you don't like for things that you do. As long as you're keeping an eye on your carbohydrate intake, you can experiment as much as you would like. The diet was prepared using the works of Jillian Kubala, Jane Leonard and Ansley Hill, and Andreas Enfeldt. Day 1. Morning, 2 scrambled eggs prepared with butter. Afternoon, Caesar salad with chicken and avocado. Evening, prosciutto wrapped asparagus with goat's cheese. Snacks, keto-friendly veggie sticks with guacamole. Day 2. Morning, cheese and butter roll-ups. Afternoon, keto tuna salad with boiled eggs. Evening, a beef stew made with mushrooms, celery, and beef broth. Snacks, bone broth. Day 3. Morning, bell pepper, greens stuffed with cheese and eggs. Afternoon, beef burger patty with guacamole, tomato, and kale and lettuce salad. Evening, fathead pizza with keto-friendly toppings. Snack, mixed keto-friendly nuts. Day 4. Morning, 2 eggs fried in butter with avocado and blackberries or raspberries. Afternoon, salad made with greens, cheese, hard-boiled eggs, avocado, and turkey or chicken. Evening, keto carbonara. Snack, fermented vegetables, for example, cabbage or cucumber with sour cream dip. Day 5. Morning, a 3-egg omelet with mushrooms and topped with cheese. Afternoon, avocados filled with salmon and sour cream. Evening, chicken breast with green beans and cauliflower mash. Snack, olives with feta cheese. Day 6. Coconut milk chia pudding topped with coconut shavings and pecans. Afternoon, meatballs served on zucchini noodles and sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. Evening, pork chops with keto-friendly vegetables of choice. Snack, fat bombs. Day 7. Morning, keto pancakes topped with heavy cream and blackberries. Afternoon, shrimp on avocado salad with tomatoes, feta cheese, drizzled with lemon juice and olive oil. Evening, garlic butter steak with mushrooms and asparagus. Snack, cream and keto-friendly fruit. The first week will be tough on you, so remember to get plenty of rest, drink lots of water, and don't give up. Vegan keto diet. Below is a diet safe for vegan keto eaters for 1 week. Feel free to switch out or add things that you prefer. Be careful of allergies. This weekly diet was put together with the works of Jillian Kubala, Andrew Heffernan, and recipes by Green and Keto. Day 1. Morning. Rice protein powder, 1/2 cup raspberries, 1 1/2 tablespoons of keto-friendly nut butter, 1 cup chaga tea. Afternoon, zucchini noodles with walnut pesto and sprinkled with vegan cheese. Evening, roasted cauliflower with tomatoes and garlic. Snacks, celery sticks topped with keto-friendly nut butter. Day 2. Morning, tofu scramble topped with vegan cheese, mushrooms, and spinach or kale. Afternoon, keto-friendly vegetable soup topped with crumbled vegan cheese. Evening, oven-roasted Brussels sprouts, drizzle with olive oil and garlic. Snack, olives with vegan cheese. Day 3. Keto overnight oats made with hemp hearts. Afternoon, portobello mushrooms with guacamole and tomatoes wrapped in spinach or kale. Evening, zucchini lasagna with vegan cheese. Snack, coconut cream with berries. Day 4. Morning, coconut yogurt with nuts and berries. Afternoon, keto-friendly vegetable and tofu salad with avocado. Evening, vegan keto walnut chili. Snack, guacamole with sliced bell pepper, green. Day 5, morning, coconut almond chia pudding. Afternoon, vegan shepherd's pie with mushrooms and cauliflower. Evening, eggplant lasagna with vegan cheese. Snack, trail mix with mixed nuts, seeds, and unsweetened coconut, no raisins. Day 6, tofu scramble with vegan cheese with some guacamole. Afternoon, grilled tofu and asparagus salad with mushrooms. Evening, salad with spinach or kale and cucumber, tomato, cabbage, olive oil, and a sprinkle of walnuts. Snack, fat bombs. Day 7, full-fat coconut yogurt with nuts, seeds, and unsweetened shredded coconut. Afternoon, vegan wrap with walnut taco meat, vegan cheese, onions all wrapped in collard greens. Evening, cauliflower fried rice, add small amounts of red peppers for flavor. Snacks, cucumber slices with vegan-friendly cream cheese. Keep an eye on any missing nutrients and make use of supplements for anything you need an extra boost for. Keto diet with 16-8 fasting plan. The diet plan below is a slightly altered version of the standard keto diet discussed earlier, with only the breakfast section removed. The main idea is to remember that you can only eat within 8 hours. As long as you're getting enough fat to keep you during your fasting, then you'll be all right. If you do feel hunger pains, make use of black coffee or water until you can consume your first meal. Some people are fine with 2 big meals, but if you want to make use of snacks in between, you can do that. Day 1, afternoon. Cauliflower and broccoli salad with keto-friendly mayonnaise and topped with pecan nuts. Evening, salad made with greens, cheese, hard-boiled eggs, avocado, and turkey or chicken. Snacks, fat bombs. Day 2, afternoon. Eggs and bacon with avocado on the side. Evening, keto meat pie. Snacks, chaffle from the dessert section or online. Day 3, afternoon, keto pizza with keto-friendly toppings. Evening, keto chicken soup with no noodles. Snacks, boiled eggs. Day 4, salad with feta and beef strips drizzled with olive oil. Evening, steak with keto-friendly veggies of choice. Snacks, veggie sticks with keto-safe dip. Day 5, afternoon, beef burger patties topped with guacamole and slices of cheese. Evening, avocado salad with keto-friendly greens topped with goat cheese. Snacks, full-fat yogurt with keto-friendly nuts and fruit. Day 6, afternoon, chicken breast with green beans and cauliflower mash. Evening, fried salmon with broccoli. Snacks, olives with feta cheese and keto-friendly cold cuts. Day 7, afternoon, salad made with greens, cheese, hard-boiled eggs, avocado, and meat of choice. Evening, 3-egg omelet stuffed with cheese, bacon, and green pepper with avocado on the side. Snack, bone broth. Fasting can be pretty tough, which is why it's important to do most of it overnight and not during the day while you're active. If you find yourself going to sleep hungry, try adding more fats to your evening meal or have a high-fat snack just before your 8-hour window of eating closes. Recipes. Below you'll find a sample of recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinners, snacks, and dessert. All of them are keto-friendly and delicious. Feel free to tweak the recipes so that they suit your taste and needs for your macromolecules for the day. Breakfast. Bulletproof coffee. You do not have to be on a diet to just wake up and not feel like having breakfast. However, if you're not fasting, it's a good idea to have something before you start your busy day. A great way to boost your fat content right at the beginning of the day is with Becky Hardin's Bulletproof Coffee. It takes a while to get used to, but once you've had it, you'll never look at coffee in the same way again. Serving size 1. Prep time 10 minutes. Cook time 0 minutes. Nutrition facts for 12 fluid ounces. Calories 268. Fat 29 grams. Ingredients: 12-ounce black coffee brewed from beans, no instant coffee. 1 tablespoon MCT oil. 2 tablespoon ghee. 1 pinch sea salt optional. 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon optional. Directions: place everything into a blender and blend at a high speed. You should be left with a coffee that looks like milk has been added. Sweetener is rarely needed, but if you want to, you can add some. Serve immediately as you don't want the fat to separate. If you're on a fasting diet, let this be your final snack before you stop eating. The fat content in the drink should keep you till the next time you eat. Keto overnight oats. For many people who have a very busy morning, the overnight oats meal has been a lifesaver, as it can be made the night before and then eaten in the morning with no preparation at all. Sadly, as oats is a grain and a no-no on the keto diet, Leanne Vogel has designed a keto and vegan-friendly overnight oats for us. Serving size 2. Prep time 5 minutes. Cook time 0 minutes. Nutrition facts for 2 servings without toppings. Calories 253. Carbohydrates 5.3 grams. Protein 12.3 grams. Fat 20.5 grams. Sugar 1.8 grams. Ingredients: 2/3 cup full-fat coconut milk. 1/2 cup hemp hearts. 2 teaspoons confectioner's keto-friendly sweetener. 1/2 teaspoon vanilla extract. A pinch of fine sea salt. Additional toppings: 12 whole almonds, watch out for allergies. 6 whole raspberries. 1 teaspoon chia seeds. Directions: mix all the ingredients in a container that has a volume of 12 fluid ounces with a lid. Stir until all the ingredients are covered in coconut milk. Close the lid and leave the container undisturbed in the fridge for a minimum of 8 hours. If the mixture seems a little dry, add a little more coconut milk. This is by no means the only overnight oats that's available to you. Play around with flavors such as pumpkin spice or adding berries and nuts as toppings. The sweetener isn't even needed if you make use of berries, but test the taste and see how you would like it. Lunch. Keto meat pie. Usually a pie would be against the keto diet, but lucky for us, Ann Obadiah has designed and tested a meat pie worthy of all keto eaters' stomachs. Just be warned, it may be difficult not wanting a second piece. Serving size 6. Prep time 30 minutes. Cook time 50 minutes. Nutrition facts per serving: calories 550. Carbohydrates 6 grams net. Protein 33 grams net. Fat 42 grams net. Ingredients for pie crust: 1 large egg. 3/4 cup almond flour, allergy alert. 1/4 cup coconut flour, allergy alert. 1/4 cup sesame seeds. 1 tablespoon ground psyllium husk powder. 1 pinch salt. 1 teaspoon baking powder. 3 tablespoons olive oil. 1/4 cup water. Ingredients for meat filling: 1 1/4 pounds ground beef or ground turkey. 1/2 yellow onion chopped. 1 garlic clove chopped. 3 tablespoons tomato paste or puree. 2 tablespoons dried oregano. 2 tablespoons olive oil. 1/4 teaspoon ground black pepper. 1/2 teaspoon salt. 1/2 cup water. Toppings: 1 cup cheddar cheese, shredded. 1 cup cottage cheese. Directions for meat filling: preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Over medium heat in a frying pan, heat the olive oil. Add the chopped onions and cook till translucent. Add the beef or turkey, garlic, oregano, pepper, and salt. Make sure the meat is broken into smaller pieces to cook evenly. Cook meat mixture for about 10 minutes. Add the water and tomato paste until it combines with the meat mixture. Lower the heat to medium-low and allow it to simmer for 20 minutes. Move on to preparing the pie crust. Directions for pie crust. Combine all the crust ingredients with the use of a food processor or a fork. Use a piece of parchment paper to line a deep dish pie pan 9 to 10 inches in diameter. Spread the dough onto the sides and base of the dish with a spatula, making sure to prick them afterward to prevent bubbling while cooking. Pre-bake the crust for about 10 minutes. Remove and add the meat mixture to it. In a bowl, mix the cottage cheese and the cheddar cheese before spreading it over the top of the meat mixture. Bake the filled pie on the lower rack of the oven for between 40 and 50 minutes or until the top has a golden color. As soon as the oven timer goes off, grab your plates and help yourself to a piece of this pie. If you need to fill up on an empty stomach, consider some pieces of cucumber to go with this dish. Dinner. Vegan Keto Walnut Chili. This recipe is suitable for all followers of the keto diet, being high in protein and low in carbs with no beans for the usual after effect. This dish by Abby Sharp is perfect for all. Serving size, 6 to 8 people. Prep time, 10 minutes. Cook time, 31 minutes. Nutrition facts per serving. Calories, 353. Carbohydrates, 18 grams, 10 gram net. Protein, 13 grams. Fat, 28 grams. Sugar, 5 grams. Ingredients: 2 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil, 1 tablespoon unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 teaspoon chili powder, 4 teaspoon ground cumin, 1 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1 1/2 teaspoon smoked paprika, 5 stalk celery diced finely, 2 cloves garlic minced, 2 large chipotle peppers in adobo minced, 2 bell peppers green diced finely, 2 zucchini diced, 8-ounce cremini mushrooms minced, 1 1/2 tablespoon tomato paste keto friendly, 1 15-ounce can diced tomatoes, 2 1/2 cups soy meat crumbled, 3 cups water, 1/2 cup coconut milk, 1 cup raw walnuts minced, salt and pepper to taste. Toppings: 1 avocado diced, 2 tablespoons cilantro leaves fresh, 2 tablespoons radishes sliced. Directions: in a large pot, add the oil and adjust for medium heat. Add chopped celery and cook for about 4 minutes. Add the paprika, garlic, cumin, chili powder, and cinnamon. Stir for 2 minutes. Add the mushrooms, zucchini, and bell peppers and continue to cook for 5 minutes. Add the coconut milk, soy meat, walnuts, chipotle, tomato paste, water, tomatoes, and cocoa powder. Reduce the heat to medium-low and simmer the mixture for between 20 and 25 minutes until the vegetables are soft and the liquid is thick. Do a taste test and add salt and pepper as you wish. Serve this delicious chili while hot, topped with radishes, sliced avocado, and cilantro. Add a dollop of sour cream if you're not following the vegan keto plan for that extra taste. Dessert. Vegan keto brownies. There are likely very few desserts that are as tasty as a brownie, and thanks to Andrew Heffernan, now both vegan and keto followers get to try these tasty treats. Serving size 8 brownies. Prep time 10 minutes. Cook time 40 to 45 minutes. Nutrition facts per brownie. Calories 157. Carbohydrates 4.2 grams. Protein 12 grams. Fat 9 grams. Ingredients: 1 1/2 cups warm water, 1/2 cup peanut butter, keto-friendly, 2 scoops plant-based protein powder, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/4 cup cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons coconut flour, 1/4 cup keto-friendly sweetener. Directions. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, then cover a baking sheet with non-stick cooking spray. In a bowl, mix peanut butter, sweetener, and water until smooth. In a second bowl, sift together all the dry ingredients together. Combine the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. The texture should be similar to a frosting. Add the batter to the coated pan and make sure the surface is smooth. Bake for between 40 and 45 minutes. Test the center with a knife and make sure it comes out clean. This is an indication of the brownies being completely cooked. Allow brownies to cool before serving. This delicious dessert can be topped with vegan keto-friendly ice cream and low-carb berries. Try your best to have only one serving. Peanut butter cup chaffles. If you're yet to break the habit of your sweet tooth, why not try this recipe from Carly Campbell? It's sure to satisfy any sweet tooth while keeping to those macromolecules. Serving size, 2 mini chaffles. Prep time, 10 minutes. Cook time, 6 minutes. Nutrition facts for 1 mini chaffle. Calories, 210. Carbohydrates, 4 grams, 3 gram net. Protein, 8 grams. Fat, 15 grams. Sugar, 2 grams. Ingredients: 1 large egg, 2 tablespoons cocoa powder, 1 tablespoon sugar-free chocolate chips, 1/2 cup finely grated mozzarella, 1/4 teaspoon espresso powder, 1 teaspoon keto-friendly sweetener of choice. Ingredients for the filling: 3 tablespoons creamy keto-friendly peanut butter, 2 tablespoons powdered keto-friendly sweetener of choice, 1 tablespoon butter softened. Directions. Preheat the waffle iron or make use of a frying pan. Mix all the chaffle ingredients well. Cook half of the batter in the waffle iron for 3 minutes, then repeat. If cooking in a frying pan, cook on one side till bubbles start to rise through the batter, then flip. Directions for filling. Mix all the filling ingredients well. Spread the filling onto the cooled chaffle. This chaffle's perfect as an open or a closed sandwich, which can be frozen until one needs a sweet treat to snack on. Snacks. Bone broth. Bone broth is vital to all keto eaters as an excellent source of calcium and collagen, which means it's great at keeping our bodies together. Although there are many versions of this tasty snack, it's Kathleen Evans' recipe that has crawled into the hearts and stomachs of many a keto follower. Serving size, 4. Prep time, 1 1/2 hours. Cook time, 8 to 24 hours depending on cooking method. Nutrition facts per serving. Calories, 134. Carbohydrates, 0.3 grams. Protein, 4 grams. Fat, 13 grams. Ingredients: 5 pounds beef bones or lamb or combine both, 3 tablespoons coconut oil, 1 tablespoon white vinegar, 1 teaspoon black peppercorns, fresh parsley, 1 tablespoon salt, water, carrot roughly chopped optional, 1 medium yellow onion roughly chopped optional, 1 whole garlic slightly crushed optional. Direction for roasting bones. Preheat the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Coat all the bones in coconut oil before spreading them out on a baking dish. Roast bones for about 1 to 1 1/2 hours. They will change to a brown color. Check that any drippings don't burn by adding a cup of water to the tray towards the end of the roasting. Directions for making bone broth on stovetop. Get a really big pot and fill it with all the ingredients. Cover all the ingredients with water over a few inches. Boil for between 10 and 15 minutes before lowering the temperature to simmer. Simmer contents for between 8 and 24 hours. The broth should be a deep brown color when it's done. Season to taste. To retain the liquid, only use a strainer to remove any solids. Cool the broth and then store it away in an airtight container. Directions for making bone broth in a slow cooker. Add all the ingredients to the slow cooker and completely cover with water. Set the temperature to low and cook the mixture for between 12 and 18 hours. Bone broth is done when the color is a deep brown. Season to taste. Strain the liquid through a strainer and set the liquid aside. Cool liquid and store in airtight containers. Bone broth isn't just a winter treat, as it's vital to most keto eaters' health. The liquid can be stored in the fridge for about 5 days, but it can also be frozen for an extended time. Freeze in ice blocks to use as your own stock. Bone broth can also include excess fat, skin, and organs if you want to include more nutrients in your broth. Peanut butter fat bombs. If you're struggling to reach your fat content, then give Hope Pierce's fat bombs a try. But don't try too many, as that wouldn't be helpful to your keto diet. Serving size, 10 fat bombs may vary depending on the container used. Prep time, 10 minutes. Cook time, 30 minutes. Nutrition facts for 1 fat bomb. Calories, 182. Carbohydrates, 2 grams. Protein, 4 grams. Fat, 17 grams. Sugar, 1 gram. Ingredients: 1/2 cup keto-friendly peanut butter, smooth. Allergy warning. 5 to 15 drops stevia liquid, add to sweeten. 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. 1/4 cup coconut oil. 1/4 cup raw cacao butter. Pinch of coarse sea salt. Directions: if you have a double broiler, you can use it, but if not, use a medium saucepan, boil with about an inch of water. After boil's been reached, bring it down to a simmer, then place a heat-proof glass container in the center. Add all the ingredients except the sweetener and stir until everything is a smooth liquid. Add several drops of the sweetener until satisfied with the taste of the mixture. Don't forget to stir. Make use of silicone muffin molds or mold of choice, but if so, remember to add paper liners to make removal easier. Pour about 3 tablespoons of the liquid into the bottom of the molds. Place the molds flat in the freezer and leave them there for 30 minutes until they harden. Fat bombs need to be stored in the freezer in an airtight container. These fat bombs make great snacks, and they come in many different tastes and textures. See what best suits your needs and tastes. Conclusion. So, is the keto diet for you? If you're ready to switch from burning glucose in favor of burning fat, then your answer needs to be yes. The keto diet is something anyone can follow, and it simply starts with a change in your mindset. Stop eating refined sugar and carbohydrates. Once you've managed to successfully give up those 2 types of foodstuffs, then comes the true work. There are 3 main nutrients or macromolecules that we consume: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. On the standard keto diet, they need to be in perfect balance of 5 to 10% of your diet from carbohydrates, 15 to 20% protein, and the rest made up of fat. This seems like a massive change to have to make to your diet after being exposed to a diet that mostly consists of carbohydrates, but the health benefits make it worth it. Studies have shown that people on a ketogenic diet have had improvements in blood pressure, sleep, hormone imbalance, as well as helping with depression and certain cancers. There are even some keto diets that can be strictly followed to help with epilepsy. However, as much good as what this diet does, there are a few negative aspects to it. Forcing your body to switch to a new source of energy, ketones, can be a difficult transition and results in some side effects. One of the worst side effects known to occur on a keto diet is the dreaded keto flu. Although this only lasts a few days, it leaves you feeling tired, sleepless, and a little sick. However, once you get over the keto flu, you'll start to see the change in a few weeks. Once you're in full ketosis, your body will be using fat as its main source of energy to fuel it. It's still important for you to get your fruits and vegetables in, but you need to be wary of how many carbohydrates you're consuming. To remain in ketosis, it's very important to keep the consumption of carbohydrates to between 20 grams and 50 grams a day. Protein plays a crucial role as well, so don't go skimping on eating from good sources of protein. There are still certain parts of your body that need glucose to function, and the liver can metabolize the protein into glucose for their use. When preparing meals with fatty sources, be sure to always go for the healthier options. We all love to eat bacon, but moderation is the key to losing weight. You cannot make this journey half-heartedly. Make sure you measure your macros with every meal to ensure that you're keeping the levels of your main nutrients at the right concentrations to remain in ketosis and not slip back into glycolysis. Make use of a food diary to keep up your spirits and help you save and create new recipes to help you with cravings that may occur. Whether you're a carnivore, omnivore, or even vegan, there is a keto plan for you. The question is, are you ready to try it? Keto isn't only limited to just eating plans, but also plans that can help you reduce the amount you eat by reducing the duration of time that you can consume food. As this diet can be limiting in certain nutrients, it's a good idea to look to supplements to help you if there are any problems. This is going to be a tough journey, but it will be rewarding as you see the results in the mirror. So remember, while you're in the worst of the keto flu, drink plenty of water, rest well, and plan your future meals for the future you, with whom you'll fall in love with as each day ticks by. Play around with meals, find new ones on the internet, or even contribute to the keto community by making your own and sharing. Every journey starts with a single step, and you've taken that step by completing this book. Now, take that next by committing yourself to change and removing all the refined sugar and carbohydrates from your cupboards and dedicating yourself to making a shopping list filled with keto-friendly products.